Hey, and welcome back to episode 2 of Caught in the Web. Well, not welcome back, it's just a start, but welcome to episode 2 of Caught in the Web. I'm again joined by Dalek,
Hello.
Chris,
Hello?
and Taylor.
Hello.
And again, if you're not sure of the format, basically we're going to go through a bunch of the tech stories that's happened in the last week or so, meaning a couple of weeks, and basically just riff off each other and talk about them. So I guess let's start with the first story of the evening. Wednesday briefing. Parliament asks Facebook to explain political fact-checking exemption. Long story short, they basically don't care about advertising political ads on Facebook, and yeah, they're just running wild, really. Facebook and the whole kind of allowing political means on there. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts immediately?
It's very shifty, I would say. Because obviously, I think it points towards quite a clear bias in some respects.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, political fact-checking exemption. I mean, you've probably seen it yourself on Facebook. Like, there are so many articles that come up which are, fake news, and there's obviously deep fakes that get passed around, and so, I don't see any good reason why, politics should be, anything political should be exempt from that. Like, I don't. The only reason I can think of, the only thing that gains is some people see something that's, actually is fake and they believe it. Like, that's the only.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only clear benefit that they get from that. So.
Illegible.
Do you reckon they're probably doing it because they don't want the liability of having to decide what political stuff is fake and what political stuff is real? They probably don't want to be accused of bias if they start saying, oh, so-and-so is fake, so-and-so is fake, so-and-so is fake, and all the stuff that they say is fake from one party and not from another party.
That is true. I mean, and to get... Oh.
I was going to say, it probably takes a lot of the manpower and work hours away. Kind of, oh yeah, we don't have to deal with that. We'll just say, exempt from fact checking because it's advertisements and free speech. Yeah, just leave it.
I mean, I suppose to give credit as well. Like, I don't know exactly how their algorithm works, but for political things, obviously politicians nowadays say a lot of outrageous stuff, especially with the likes of Trump and everything. Like, all of that's it is a bit crazy. So I mean, perhaps it's just a case of it being quite hard to monitor, or hard to actually judge.
Are you all right? Are you all right there? By the way, Taylor, you're kind of sounds like you're falling off your chair every 5 minutes.
Oh really?
Yeah. Are you like leaning in to speak to the mic?
Is this any better?
Yeah, a little bit. It's just yeah, it sounds like you got a bit of an earthquake going on in Medway at the moment. So
really,
just thought I'd check in.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Cool. All right. Anyway, as you were saying, so it's kind of putting political stuff as a fact-checking exemption is almost being like, yeah, we can't be asked to deal with the yes/no, because then they'll just get accused of bias if their fact-checkers are more lenient towards a certain place and time. So, yeah, I think it's kind of walking away a little bit from the liability kind of thing.
Imagine if you're Facebook and for a whole entire political campaign, you've been saying that candidate A, oh, this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie. And then candidate A gets elected. He's not exactly going to turn around and be a happy shopper with Facebook, is he? He's probably going to, start trying to bring regulations about Facebook. I think for Facebook, it's purely just a matter of liability. They're there thinking to themselves, we don't want to upset any politician. So it's just easier for us to just say, we're just going to exempt politicians from fact-checking. As far as we're concerned, we don't care if politicians give fake news or not, because we just don't want to be liable for having to deal with the biases what comes with that.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's Facebook's role in this kind of thing to fact check, or are they right to say, nah, we don't want to have to fact check everything, is because it's we're marking it down as an opinion or agenda of political figure kind of thing. It's almost like free reign in that regard.
Well, this is a matter that's been discussed for the past year, isn't it? Where is Facebook a publisher or not? Because Facebook don't want to be considered a publisher, because Facebook, as they've always said, absolutely hates the idea of having to, moderate what goes on Facebook.
Yeah.
But obviously, politicians and other people consider Facebook a publisher, which, it's a fair argument to say, because there's a larger and larger population now get their news solely from Facebook, isn't there?
Yeah.
Whereas, 10 years ago, everyone got it from the news, but now a lot of people do get it from Facebook. So, is Facebook a publisher or is Facebook not a publisher? It's one of them things.
Yeah, it's kind of, how far are they going to get demanding an explanation from Facebook for its decisions that statements with the primary purposes of expressing the opinion or agenda of a political figure are ineligible for fact-checking? I mean, what are they going to turn around and say? Are they going to be like, we don't want to kind of influence anything, or do we just say, we're just going to put it in its raw format, you be the judge, allowing the people to make a decision? Because I think that's where they got stung before, is when they're fact checkers. I think there was a massive investigation done, if I remember correctly, about who's actually fact checking and who's actually saying yes or no. Because as you said, if it turns out that all of the fact checkers are like one way leaning, then that's almost worse, because it's kind of swaying the opinion, because you can say, this is crap, rubbish, when it's just because it's being fact checked by people of a certain political persuasion. I'm not sure. I think it might be a good move, or maybe not a good move, but a wise move from Facebook.
I mean, it comes back a little bit to, I think we talked about it a bit last week. How we talked about like the sort of bias in AI and stuff, the programmer bias. Perhaps it's something to do with that, like the whole moderation of this. How do you, who is it that chooses what's right and wrong, and who is it that, how do you deem some of these things as fake? Like I mean, I don't necessarily trust Facebook too much with it, but like I'm not quite as hostile about it as I'd normally be. Like I can sort of understand. I can see a lot where a lot of the difficulty would lie with something like this.
People have basically got to a point where they just expect this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
they're not
pretty much.
They're just like, classic Facebook, same old. Yeah. Yeah,
and this wasn't exactly like front page news either. Like, to find out about this exemption, you do have to do a little bit of digging.
Bit of digging, yeah. So so would you rather see a political advertisement and it say underneath it, the statement such and such was found to be false because of X, Y, and Z, or would you rather it kind of have a bias and have some lies in it, but allow you to make your own decision? What do you think's the best of a bad choice, I guess?
Honesty, personally. I'd rather it say, this has been proven to be fake, and if for some reason I think, no, I don't believe that, then I'll do my own research on it. But not everyone thinks like that, though. So
when you say honesty, you want them to have this is fake kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'd like to see that, but whether or not it's going to happen, that's another topic. I mean, it's not so much me that gets affected by that, because with a lot of things that could be big in the news, it's always good to get an opinion from a second source, if you will.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
But obviously your average user doesn't think of doing that. They don't think of doing further research. They see it, and there are a lot of people that just believe everything they see on TV, everything they hear on the radio, everything they read in the paper, and everything they see on Facebook. It's just, people just tend to take it at face value, especially when the titles and things are quite good bait, and generally they're worded in a way that sort of is very biased in its own right. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think we're all kind of guilty of being a bit read the headline and take it as kind of that's the news type thing.
Exactly.
I don't think any of you in here could honestly say that every article that you see the headline of, you click it and read the full story. It's mainly just a browse, and then if you want to know more about it, you go through it. So I think I kind of agree with Facebook to say, we don't want to fact check it, but now that's obviously had an adverse effect, because UK Parliament has been like, wait a minute, so are you saying that your stuff's fake or what? And I think they're seeing it as Facebook giving the readers and things their own sort of controls to come up with their own decision is almost backfiring and saying, okay, so you don't want to fact check, so they can't really win, I don't think. So even if they did fact check, it will come out that there's some sort of bias. And now that they're saying they're not going to fact check, it's so you're endorsing fake content. What's the middle ground, do you reckon?
I think what they need to do, if they are going to exempt the fact checking, is I think they need to have underneath like the post saying, "Oh, this is a political article, therefore is fact checked exempt." Because the problem I can see happening now, because everyone's used to Facebook fact checking stuff, if they see a just outrageous article from a politician and it's fake, but they don't see the fake news thing at the bottom, they might just presume it's real because they might presume Facebook did fact check it and gave it the A-OK.
Yeah, but having a message to say that this hasn't been fact checked almost immediately in your mind puts doubt in there as well.
True.
That's the problem. So it's like if you see something that says this hasn't been or let's say Wikipedia article that it's like this hasn't been reviewed, let's say, and you immediately think, oh, it must be lies then, even though it could be complete fact. Just in the case of this particular one, it's not. I don't know.
I think people would get used to that though if it came from every politician. They saw it enough.
Is that a good thing though?
I would say it's a double-edged sword, the entire situation, because I think, I think he summed it up perfectly, Adam, with basically saying, if they went the other way, they would basically get told another thing. If they went, this way, or the current way, well, with what they're doing, then obviously they're going to get stung here, which can't even talk today, which is what is happening here. So I would say, people should be kind of wary of as to what can be done, obviously, with headlines and articles anyway. And it's as you said, I think everyone at one point or another has been like kind of fooled by the headlines, as it were. But when you read more into it, it's like, actually, no, that's misleading. So I think, even if one or two solutions are put in place, saying, oh, this is a political article, or, oh, this is, this has been proven fake, here's why. And then obviously, you'll still have people that doubt that message at the end of the day. And even I would personally, because you never know who's checked it, as it were, and as Taylor said perfectly with the bias side of things, that can be put in by, programmer, the person who reviews it, / the AI, etc. So I would say, at the end of the day, if people, I guess, use some form of critical thinking to, look more into the article or the story, then, problem solved there. But obviously, as you said, not everyone has the, I guess, the energy, as it were, or curiosity to look further into it. So, I don't think you can win.
Yeah, because people don't browse Facebook to do like research, do they? They're browsing it like sat on the sofa, just chilling out, scrolling through Facebook, on the tube, wherever they are. They're not kind of, all right, I'm ready to do some research about a political topic. And if all you're getting is adverts for about something, for like certain political leaning or whatever it is, you're just going to look at that for like a brief few seconds and scroll on, and in your mind you remember, I remember seeing that advert and da-da-da-da, regardless if it's got a fact-checked or not message. But the other thing to think about is they have a fact-checking exemption for political stuff. Where does it end, though? Are they going to try their luck in the future and be like, actually, because this is non-business related, we're kind of going to have a fact-checking exemption as well? And then is that going to start creeping in? I don't know. Is that setting a precedent for themselves?
I don't know. I would say I would say as
It's a hard one, right? It's like there's no
yeah.
straight. Yep, definitely or nah.
Yeah, I would say it's a double-edged sword. I don't think you can win either way with this entire situation. You know, in any whether it be political or not, I don't think you can really win due to the nature of it.
Okay. As the topic's getting a little bit dry, I think we'll move on to the next story. Everyone okay with that, or do you want to talk a bit more about a certain thing in this story?
Oh no, I'm good.
Chris, you all good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Sweet.
Let's move on.
Let's move to a bit more interesting topic. This is, can Valve tempt gamers to try virtual reality with the new announcement? I'll let Dalek take this one away because I'm sure he has some opinions.
Yeah, been waiting over 10 years, like everyone else. So for those who don't know, I guess non-gamers, basically, the last Half-Life game that was released was 12 years ago now, and it was left on a massive cliffhanger in the story side of things. And basically, people have been waiting, over a decade, basically, for the next installment of a Half-Life game. But 12 years on, basically, they've now just announced a prequel, which is basically you'll be playing as what's the word I'm looking for?
Protagonist.
The protagonist, Alyx, which is Gordon Freeman's partner in crime, as it were, or I can't think of the word. There is a word for it, but I can't think of it.
Sidekick?
Anyway,
Side character.
Sidekick. There we go. Sidekick. So you'll be playing as the sidekick of the protagonist that you played in the previous games. And there's been mixed reactions because basically the game requires a VR headset, which is kind of a niche market still at this point in time. It's still quite expensive to get into. I would say if you want a kind of fairly decent headset, it'll probably set you back around $300-$400, maybe a little bit more. So that's kind of why a lot of people are upset, because obviously not everyone can, I guess, afford to or even want to get a VR headset, basically. And not to mention that it also requires a good amount of space as well. Probably kind of the typical amount of room you would get in your living room, as it were. So, there's also the requirement of that. But, I would say to, back onto the title of the article, can, is it going to get people, getting a VR headset? Are people going to want to invest into, one game, this, huge amount of money? Probably. I would say it's probably, probably increased the amount of people by maybe a good few percent, I would say, if not more. But,
if Valve can't do it, geez.
Yeah, it's it's difficult, but go on, sorry.
So sorry. I think it's definitely a brave move, making it a game that requires a VR headset, because obviously you've now got, I'd imagine, quite a few veterans that are quite, they're maybe not as keen on VR, and I don't know, me picturing a Half-Life game in VR is quite an odd thought. Like, it's hard to really visualize what that would be like, and I'm sure they can convert people to VR, but it's a tough market to get into now, because obviously Oculus has just released the completely wireless headset, which I think on the market it does have one of the best screens, resolution wise, and they are releasing a technical expansion, if you will, very soon, which is going to cost $80. And I can't remember exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to make it, you connect it to your PC essentially, and it's meant to sort of be the next big breakthrough in that market. So Valve's going to have to, put their nose to the grindstone as such, because not only do they have to deal with all the competition in the VR market now, but as the article details, there are a lot of gamers as such that are, now a lot more spread out compared to 12 years ago. You know, and a lot of people that are part of the gaming community, a big part of them were brought up on sort of big multiplayer games, you know, and you've got a lot of kids and even adults now that are more focused on Fortnite and Call of Duty, you know, Overwatch, you know, whatever. So, and like it even says, where is it? Hold on. So if you scroll down a bit, Adam, it says right there. It says gamers. Yeah, there is a gamers weaned on massive multiplayer games such as Fortnite may find Half-Life a bit tame. So that's the one. I think that's one thing they're not. That's one thing they might struggle to get around a little bit. Like, obviously, the market has changed from 12 years ago. You've still got all the die-hard fans which are going to play it, or, you know, if they can afford to, with needing a new headset and everything. But you have also got this big chunk of the market now that isn't going to be interested at all, really. You'll probably get a few people that jump on because it's like the cool new thing. You know, they just want to be part of it. But, yeah, there are a lot of people who aren't going to look twice at this. So it's going to be interesting to see what Valve do from here on out. And I mean, obviously, new Half-Life game. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily what everyone expected either in terms of the timeline and so on. But
no, I definitely didn't.
No,
I mean,
there you go.
Was a huge surprise. You know, I was kind of a bit like everyone else. I'm like, wait, I need a headset for this. I've been waiting 12 years, and I have to have a headset for this. So, you know, I will say. Go on, sorry.
No, sorry, go. You will say?
I will say that I will get a headset for, you know, this game. You know, kind of fortunate. I mean, I did plan on getting one anyway at some point down the line, but I guess I'm going to have to get one earlier than expected.
So in answer to the article's headline, sorry, the title, it is going to tempt you because are you basically saying you're going to speed up the process of getting one because of this game?
Yeah, definitely, because it's a AAA game, which is, you know, a AAA VR title, which, you know, there's not many of. There's quite a lot of VR titles which are, I guess, lack the AAA development because it's so expensive and time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, there's quite a lot of VR games that are kind of, you know, you play them for like, you know, maybe 20, 30 minutes, you know, maybe a few hours even, and then kind of just put it down, as it were. But I think one last point to kind of go over, Half-Life has always been kind of the game that is groundbreaking in, you know, whether it be physics or graphics or gameplay or storytelling and you know, multiplayer, etc., and modding as well. So I think, you know, for Valve, this is just basically another step forward in terms of creating new things and, you know, really trying to push the limits on what we can do with a game, basically. And I think, you know, this game will definitely, you know, I mean, it's been over a decade. They've been waiting basically for probably something to innovate in, and this is probably it. So
yeah, but at the same time, then I suppose I wouldn't say if they're in hot water, but they've got a lot of expectation to live up to now.
Oh, 100%.
After 12 years, like if there's a part of this that goes wrong, you know, they'll never live it down.
100%, yeah. So there is a ton of pressure for them to, you know, to deal with, basically. And while there isn't Half-Life 3, unfortunately, which is another thing as well, you know, everyone was expecting Half-Life 3 at this point in time to, you know, happen as opposed to a prequel, which is also another kind of mixed reaction as well, which I also feel. You know, I'm kind of disappointed and happy at the same time, but, you know, hopefully, and I say hopefully with very little hope, that you know, maybe there will be a Half-Life 3 after this if it's successful, because they did mention in a interview with some of the developers that, you know, they will, you know, do other things if it's a success, because obviously, you know, they've got a lot of, you know, a ton of pressure to make this probably the best ever game they've made. So
see, I think I think this game is making it so the pressure's coming off them slightly as well, Because this game,
Oh, 100%.
This game could suck, right?
Yeah.
It could absolutely fail and flop, but people would be like, oh well, as long as it's not killed my Half-Life 3, maybe this is like obviously it's going to be a real game and actually out there in the world, but maybe this is from a development point of view, kind of like let's see if our tech works in this environment on the new engine VR, and let's see if we can make it work. See what it's like. Do people like it? What don't they like? Yada yada, and then the finished product goes into your number 3s, etc. Do you think that's the overall plan, or do you think it's kind of, oh, we need to get to VR because everyone's doing it, we want to make some money? Gabe, can we do it?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, there is a lot of money to be made in VR. I mean, by the sounds of it, the way you put it like that, it almost makes it sound like anyone who plays the game will be part of like a big focus group almost. It's just, it's a way of them doing market research, which is more than, that's more than possible. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to see how their fans react to seeing one of the most sought after games of, the past 10 years. They're going to see how their fans react to seeing it in VR. And VR, as we know, it's good. I've used VR, but there are some games, like I don't know, in some situations it feels very unnatural. Like, is it going to take away from Half-Life's aesthetic, if you will, or is it going to add to it? I suppose only time will tell.
And whether or not you're going to need to spend £1,000 on a Vive headset or not.
That's just it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing. They are taking a risk in that department, because there's a lot of people that will probably get a headset for this, but there's also a lot of people who won't. Like, life gets hard. Like, not everyone can afford to blow that much money on a VR headset, but some people don't even have the room for it,
Yeah.
So they're sort of, in essence, they're cutting those people out, which is a shame. I do feel bad in that respect, but yeah, I guess it's just whichever way the dice rolls at this point.
Indeed, yeah, it's definitely a huge risk, and the first point that Adam brought up, 100% agree with. Yeah, all I can say is only time will tell. What will come of this. And I do agree that it's probably a segue, as Taylor said, in getting probably to Half-Life 3 potentially. I mean, the story's already been leaked, so I don't know if they will, do anything with that, as it were. But yeah, only time can tell. Good luck to Valve. I can't even imagine the amount of pressure they probably have on their shoulders, doing something like this, and the risk of...
Because they'll be looking at all of the stories coming out, all of the reaction, everything like that, and going, okay, this is what people are worried about. Okay, let's see. Because in classic Valve, it will say will be available in March 2020. Could that change?
And then it'll be delayed. I guarantee it'll be delayed.
It's almost become a bit of a meme at this point that it gets delayed,
Valve time.
Yeah.
Valve time. But only, as I say, only time can tell. And as I say, good luck to Valve. And I do look forward to this, a massive amount. And, hopefully it will, hopefully I would say, as my very last point, hopefully they, kind of don't make everything VR exclusive in future, because I do think it leaves a massive, percentage of people out, because as myself and Taylor have said, not everyone has the room or the opportunity or the money to do VR, because it is very, very expensive. It's the equivalent of a brand new rig for $1,000, as it were. So
even the ones that are a couple of $100s, you're paying a lot for a luxury, rather than people are willing to spend like a couple of K on their computer because they know it's going to last for ages and they use it for loads of different things. Whereas VR is like, look at this cool toy I've got. Well, at least that's how I think. That's how it's seen at the moment.
I agree. VR is almost a bit of a one-trick pony at this point. It's not developed enough to really justify spending that much money on it.
Do any of you actually have VR?
I don't.
There's a VR headset in my house. It's not mine, but I've used it.
Which VR is that?
It's Lenovo's mixed reality headset.
Or is it like is it like a pass-through camera kind of thing, or
is it like a what?
where you see your surroundings and then like things pop up in the real world? Is that because you said mixed reality? That's what I said.
No, that's just what it's called. Sorry, it's just called the mixed reality, but it functions the same as like a Vive or an Oculus or whatever. It's just I'd say the cheaper alternative. Like for a starter VR headset, it's not that bad. Like you don't have all like the room sensors, which I kind of like. It's a lot of hassle. It's saying, oh, you need to set up all of these sensors in that corner of your room and then one over there, and then I don't really like that. Which is why the new Oculus headset that came out, the wireless one I mentioned, and that doesn't use the sensors. That's all headset based. I like designs like that. I think we need more of that. If the market keeps developing in that way, I think VR could really take off, because this one that Oculus has brought out is like it's not as expensive as a Vive, for example, like a Vive Pro, out of this world in price, but and for the Vive Pro, in comparison to the original Vive, like there are only a few minor details that you're paying the extra money for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's. I mean, we talked about it last week, didn't we? It's one of those markets that could just sort of like get shelved. I think it was Chris that said that. Like it could end up just being shelved and collecting dust. It's what a VR headset is right now, because admittedly, there are only like a few odd games out there that are worth getting the VR for. Like there's not an awful. Obviously, you got Skyrim VR, but like by now Skyrim's been released 5 times. Like we've already played it as much as we want to play it.
The thing is, I think what would be a good idea, obviously coming from no gaming experience background, like in development or anything like that, but having these older games with the older game engines. Why not try and integrate and get VR working in there with games that people are familiar with to experience like a new kind of dimension, quote unquote. They could remaster the Half-Life series and have VR, I don't know, components added to them, I guess, just as like a test bed. That might be like an interesting way to see if it's going to be compatible, rather than just having a. Is it pronounced Alyx, or I imagine?
Yeah, Alyx.
Alyx. So I was trying to think, how the hell do you pronounce this? I don't want to sound like a fool. But,
No, it's fine. It's Alyx.
Okay. How about Chris? Do you have a VR headset, or have you tried one?
No.
So, as someone who doesn't have a VR headset, would a game like this coming out strictly for VR, would that be like a tipping point for you to buy one?
No.
Because?
Mainly because I've never played Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1.
Ooh.
Okay, interesting. No, there'll be loads that won't have. There will. So it's
the game that's most tempts me to get the VR headset is that pool game where you can stand next to the pool table and play pool with someone else. Because I once watched a YouTube video of someone playing that, and you had like the guys throwing bottles and stuff around. It looked really fun.
Yeah, I mean, slightly different to Half-Life Alyx, but yeah, I see what you mean. But what I'm trying to maybe suggest is that, is there a game that's got a big enough draw that isn't Half-Life then, that would make people go, shit, actually, I want to get VR?
No, Half-Life is one of the biggest game series that come out. I know, like, as far as gaming goes, I'm an outlier for not playing it. There's only a few other franchises I could think that are big enough that could probably rival Half-Life. Maybe Halo. Maybe if there was a Halo game that was VR exclusive, that could get a few people playing it.
Yeah, potentially.
But Half-Life is one of the biggest game franchise, and a lot of people are waiting for Half-Life 3. And obviously, this Half-Life Alyx is just an excuse to not bother making Half-Life 3 and to just disappoint people further.
Yeah. do you think what I said earlier kind of rings true slightly about the testing kind of thing, or not really?
I reckon so, but sorry, go on.
It will be a test, wouldn't it? Because obviously they haven't done a VR game before. But obviously it's not purely going to be a test, because Valve isn't in the industry of making bad games.
No.
They have quite a good history.
They did
Ricochet.
make Artifact. Let's not forget that.
Okay,
that's true.
I've never even heard of Artifacts. So.
Yeah, that says a lot, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It was when everyone was expecting them to unveil Half-Life 3. They revealed like some. It was basically Dota 2, but card game, and yeah, it didn't go down well. But
Which is basically the same thing, isn't it? You know, everyone was expecting Half-Life 3, and
Yeah.
instead you got a game where you don't play as. It's about to call him Morgan Freeman, but it's not Morgan Freeman. Is it Gordon Freeman?
Morgan
yeah,
Freeman in Half-Life, I'd buy that, and I'd buy VR the same day.
Same.
So, I know you said, Chris, about your playing pool in VR. Going around the virtual room then, what game would make you go out tomorrow and buy VR if it was fully compatible, as in designed for it? Hello?
Chris?
Yep, yeah, I'm still there.
Sorry, we must have just had an awkward communication error there. What I mean is, like, I'll go around. So, Dalek,
Hello.
what game, if it was fully fledged and designed for VR exclusively, would make you go out tomorrow and buy a VR headset? Apart from Half-Life.
This game. Oh, apart from Half-Life. So, I would say, oh God, there could be so many games. I would say, as you mentioned, I would say the older Half-Lives, for a start. I've always, for years I've wanted that to happen, but there's only been kind of, fan-made modifications, as it were. I would say maybe some horror games as well, like Amnesia, or the other games made by that team. So the Penumbra games, or the I think it was called Soma, I think it was called.
Okay.
Which is also like kind of a sort of horror-ish, but not horror game. The Serious Sam games, there is a VR game for that, which I would like to also try. That would be cool. As well as what else? I'd like to try some third-person games as well. I think that would be kind of interesting to try.
The thing is,
maybe like a Hitman game, or
I don't know about that. I don't think VR would work very well with third person, personally. But
no,
I think it defeats the purpose of VR. Because the whole point of VR is you go in and you sort of take the role of that character, like you're there in the game. Like it seems like almost pointless having a VR headset if you're going to be playing a lot of third person games, because it's still the same concept. All it is you're just using a couple of controllers. It's not really any different. Like, there's not that first person perspective. But I think if there was like a Hitman style game in first person, that would be a big selling point for me. I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go out and I want one of these. Same for if there was like a big sort of zombie survival, like a proper survival game done in VR, because they did that with I think they did that with The Forest, didn't they? I think that's on VR now. Am I wrong?
I think I could be imagining it.
I hold that thought, but even my point stands. Like a really good survival game, and then something with a lot of cool and sort of a lot of advanced mechanics, if you will. Like something so like we said, like a Hitman game, but first person. I think that would be huge, I reckon. But I think we may be having a problem now where some developers aren't reaching out to this market, either because they don't have a team that's necessarily qualified to do it in some respects, because it is obviously quite a somewhat new thing, or they just don't want to take the risk of making a VR game and cocking it up completely. So I guess a lot of developers are at standstill waiting for this market to take off, whereas the bigger ones like Valve are like, we can spare like 1% of our profit from last year to make this game.
all those TF2 hats and stuff.
Yeah. It was all for the bigger picture, but yeah, I mean.
But I agree with what you said. Like having a third person I keep wanting to say VAR like football, but VR headset would be about as useful as having a VR headset within like a Command and Conquer game. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Look over your kingdom? I don't mean.
As I say, like I mean, I don't know how effective it would be. Obviously, not effective as first person, but I think it would be an interesting thing to try. But
Yeah.
to top off my list, I would also say maybe some of the Bioshock games as well. That would be amazing to do in VR.
Oh yeah.
And maybe I guess Fallout 3, Fallout 4
Fallout 3.
potentially.
Well, Fallout 4 is already in VR.
Oh
How
yeah,
about-
it is.
How about you, Taylor?
What?
If you were, what game being exclusively VR would make you go out tomorrow and buy a VR headset?
Ooh. Tell you what, right? If exclusively VR.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I mean, we're going to
VR fully compatible.
Okay, if it was
Blood
fully
and Bacon
compatible. No. If it was fully compatible in VR, it would. Let's say Red Dead 2, because there was talks of Red Dead 2 and its first-person mode having VR, and as soon as I read that, I was like, "Shit, I'm sold. I need one of these." So, and I'm not sure if that's still going to happen, but like if it did, that would be a very big factor in mind. Because come on, everyone, who's going to pass up the opportunity to actually go back in time like that and go around, shooting things on horseback in VR? Like, it would be amazing. Motion sickness probably not, but I think that would be incredible. Like, that would be a big game for me if that came out and it's fully VR compatible.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I can't look past World of Warcraft, to be honest.
That would be pretty
having
sick,
that
to
in
be fair.
VR would be just insane. Especially if it was like the classic as well. What do you reckon, Chris? I know you've played a bit of WoW here and there.
Yeah, probably not still. I think the biggest thing that keeps me away from VR is the fact it's expensive.
Yeah, but come on, World of Warcraft, man.
It's still expensive. And it's, I'm not going to let you trick me like this, Adam, and make me say that virtual reality is a good idea. I still think it's a gimmick.
So
This news article hasn't changed my mind on this.
there's part of you that goes, yeah, damn, that World of Warcraft would actually be really good in VR. Come on, there's a little bit of you. A little tiny piece.
It's a bad argument you've made anyway, because, a second ago you just said a third-person game wouldn't work well in VR, and now you've just listed a third-person game.
But you can press Z on the
Ooh.
keyboard and then look through the eyes of the character, though.
Adam, you just got fact-checked.
I did just get fact-checked, but I'm
I
also
was
countering
going to
that
say
fact.
that.
And
I
it
was
ju-
going to
just-
say that.
And just to
But-
let you know, the Court in the Web does not feature fact-checking because it's a political podcast. But no, yeah, I get what you're saying, because it's not, it's not first person, sure, but still having that in there when
But
you're
if
on
they
like
made it first person,
being on a flight path, Chris, looking around over Dunmore or wherever the hell.
You're not going to win me on this.
I'm half right though.
No, a computer screen does the job. I'm not going to buy virtual reality. It's too expensive, and I still think it's a gimmick. And I think we just need to say, Valve making a virtual reality game isn't them doing some like big thing for the industry, because Valve is the industry. They have the Vive. I don't. Have they said if this is going to be Vive exclusive, or can you use this with any?
you can use it with
virtual
any
reality
headset.
Okay.
Any headset.
Okay,
So
speaking
I mean-
of, yeah, go on. I
Oh,
was
sorry,
going to
say
do a
no-
shitty segue there, but yeah. go ahead.
No problem. There's one thing I do want to say. That the only thing I'm becoming worried about now with the whole VR industry is, once again, the competitors. Look at how many different versions we've already got coming out. And even though this new Half-Life game is going to be compatible with, give or take, every headset, how long is it going to be before we start getting games which literally cater to the most expensive headset? So you have to, if you want to play this game, you're going to need this headset, which is at least $1,000. It's like, what? I don't want it to reach that point, because that would kill off the VR market.
Yeah, but then you could just use Google Cardboard,
yeah, that's the one. But no, that's just the thing. And
You are going to get VR exclusivity at some point, just like you have VR.
It's already
you have
happened.
exclusive
it's already
consoles.
happening. Yeah.
It's already happened with Oculus, which is kind of ironic given they kind of started all of it off.
I know, and
How mad is it to think that Facebook might one day own one of the largest game companies?
doesn't shock me, to be honest. And it's like it's just even more data that they can use, isn't it? And it's just like, guess what, guys? We can now track your movement and predict like what it looks like when you walk and things. So yeah, we got that information on record. Like you think about it, like, oh look, this person when they jog, their body movement indicates they're in pain. Let's recommend them some nice running shoes from one of our sponsors. You know, it's like you don't know which way it's gonna go. But like I said, with the whole exclusive thing with the VR, like exclusives, if they do that wrong, I think that will be the death of of VR, because no one will buy it. So you have these companies that will say, well, this is shit, we just spent millions doing this and we haven't even got a return on it, really. So yeah, it's definitely hot water to be in.
The thing is, okay, many people would have said the same thing when the PlayStation and like the Xbox were first coming out. You know, if they started doing exclusives, it would kill off the industry. But it didn't kill off the industry. And, you know, you still get exclusives now. We do. They you know, both Sony and Microsoft pay millions of pounds for exclusives.
Well, not so much for Microsoft. And that's not entirely true. There's a lot of games coming to PC these days, as opposed to 10 years ago, because the market for PC has increased.
I'm not really including PC there. I just mean between like the two consoles, there's a lot of exclusives between either of them. And particularly nowadays, you're seeing like a lot of exclusive DLC, aren't you? Like time exclusive DLC. Like, oh, buy this game for the PlayStation, and you get the DLC that comes out in the first year, whereas, you know, the other console has to wait a year.
Yeah, there's still some of that, but you know, it's as I say, it's becoming less and less of an issue on that side of things. But I don't think that it's fair to make certain games console exclusives, you know, because you're just, you know, blocking off a certain audience unless people, you know, are being able to buy your game. It's just marketing suicide, unless of course Sony gives you $90 million to make it exclusive. But go on, sorry, Taylor.
No, that's all right. I didn't mean to try and interrupt. I'm not being funny, Dalek, but you were thinking of getting a PS4 for Death Stranding, weren't you? A while back. So like,
called out on the podcast. Oh my god!
Sorry,
it's
sorry.
coming to PC next year.
It is coming to PC, but my point is, like, I mean, I guess I can see what Chris is saying here. Like, these exclusives, there are literally people who go out and buy consoles for that. But the thing with VR is, it's not the same as a console, in my opinion, because with VR, say you go out and buy a Vive, right? You go out and buy an Oculus, and you buy the game you really want. Great, you got the game, you finish it, you think, now what? Let's go and have a look for some new VR games. You go to the Steam page for the game. Oh, look, my headset's not supported. It's like, I think that's a big problem. Like, I just think that's just going to cause difficulties. You know, what's the point of me going out and spending $1,000 on a headset if I'm not going to be able to play like every game out there that's available for VR? Like, I'm not going to go out and buy multiple VR headsets and then, you know, mess around setting each one up every time I want to play a certain game. Like, it's too much effort.
Yeah, but people do the same thing with graphics cards. Oh man, my computer's too crap to run
this. But the thing is, graphics cards are universal almost. Whereas, like, VR headsets, like, I mean, I suppose that piggybacks off of all of the PC hardware, doesn't it? So it's a different concept. Like, the graphics card you get universal use out of when you change it. The headset, it's like, all right, great. Well, I can play 25 games, but the other ones I'm gonna need an Oculus for. It's like, it's not a sensible tactic. Like, trying to make that sector of the market exclusive is detrimental at early stages, I reckon. And yeah, like, there's so many different ones to choose from now, and it's just getting a little bit, I think it's too ambitious almost. Like, the amount of headsets we're bringing out in such a short space of time, it's very ambitious for like a market which is maybe only sort of like a very not a select few, but it's obviously not as big as like the market for PlayStation or for Xbox or for PC. Like, it is its own little fad. Its own little fad, yeah. Niche. So, yeah, its own niche. So that's what I mean. Like, I think it's a shaky area at the minute.
Okay, I think we'll all agree. Should we move on from this topic?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's get the gimmick out the way.
Okay, it's on the gaming theme though. A game that I'm certainly looking forward to is Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm not sure if any of you have heard anything about this new game. To speak up now if you have.
I have.
You have. Oh my god. This game looks like it's going to be just insane.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, what they're doing, just for those of you that don't know, is Microsoft obviously run and own the Flight Simulator franchise for a long time now, but obviously in recent years Microsoft have been like one of the big players in, I know they don't seem like it, but like Bing Maps and things like that, as well as the Azure, wherever you're from, that sort of cloud infrastructure. Basically what they're doing with this is taking all the data they've got in Bing Maps, combining it with Azure or whatever. I say it differently because they say it differently here in New Zealand. Every time I say it, everyone says, "You mean Azure?" Anyway, they're combining those two and making a real world experience. So the whole ground and the weather patterns, wind patterns, the birds, the live air traffic is all going to be mirrored exactly as is, obviously give or take, into this game and allow you to fly through it on a global scale. So you're almost going to be streaming the world, and people in these that have gone to like the conferences and the open days have actually got in the planes, flown over their house, and been like amazed that it's kind of it's their flight sim worldwide.
Yeah,
and I just think it's going to be incredible. I know it's going to be a few people going, yeah, but what about my machine? It's going to blow up. But they're already saying this is coming for Xbox as well. Obviously, the new generation coming, but it just seems like it's almost too good to be true, which is kind of worrying me a little bit. But
yeah,
we'll see how it goes, because it
I
says. I'll just finish my point here.
Yeah,
it says with over 2 petabytes flowing through its systems of data, geographical data. They've mapped apparently every single tree on Earth. I mean, come on.
That is crazy. That is. The only thing is though, like, I know I've played like one of the older flight simulators, and it is obviously very technical in a lot of respects, as it should be. How do you transfer that over to Xbox? Like, is it actually going to be a simulator so much at that point, or is it just going to be more of a fancy video game? Because on PC, there's obviously a lot of different controls to worry about. I don't even think there's enough buttons on the Xbox controller to actually fit all of that in. So that will be an interesting one to see. Perhaps you do need to get perhaps it's compulsory that you get a certain add-ons, if you will, like the flight stick and all of that. I have no idea. Yeah. But this isn't the first game Microsoft tried this sort of whole cloud-based thing with. They did try it with Crackdown 3, but Crackdown 3 was, not going to lie, it was a bit of a shit game, so it doesn't really matter. But it's a very ambitious and very incredible sort of showcase of what can be done nowadays with cloud computing and just with technology in general. But like you said, every single tree, and then there's real-time weather, there's real-time flocks of birds, for Christ's sake. It's like it's the littlest things that you wouldn't usually think about. Like, you got a flock of, oh Christ, I don't know, let's say seagulls for the point. I know it's not the most majestic bird, but you're just about to land at, like, say, Logan International in Boston, and then you've got these birds going by, and they're really there at Boston, Logan International at that time. It's kind of, it's pretty wild. It's very impressive, though, I have to say that.
Yeah, I
don't think they've said they're going to track every bird, have they?
No, it's not definite. I did read something about them doing it if it's possible, though. I remember seeing something about that. They
have said they're going to track, to the best of their ability, the clouds as well as every flight. So they're mentioning that it's quite hard to merge like live flight data, because if you download any flight tracker app or go to any flight tracker website, you see there's like how many planes in the air at one time. Just thousands. An insane amount, and they're trying to merge that in, because obviously if you're flying around a virtual plane and there's other planes in the sky, how is yours going to fit in? Are you almost have to like slot in between those other ones? Like if you try and land at Los Angeles airport with live traffic, you're in for a nightmare, aren't you? It's just insane.
Yeah, and that's just it, because I'm sure you've seen like the videos from like older flight simulators where you get these online servers where people are bombing it in, like nose diving into the runways and crashing into each other, and it's like, yeah, you don't really want to have that in your game. So then again, I don't really think tracking like live flight data is really necessary, to be honest. Like, it's a flight simulator.
Says the man who just said they should track seagulls.
I didn't say they should. I said that they were. I saw that it was talked about, but like, I mean, I don't really think tracking the flight is really an added benefit. I mean, like, even tracking birds and trees, like, those aren't added benefits. It's just
I just like the idea of, with you just like sat like at Heathrow Airport and you don't actually get it going to the air because, you know, there's no point where the runway's free. You just sort of have to sit there in the hangar waiting the taxi. You know.
Maybe they can maybe in their flight simulator they can simulate.
You can't fly for the weekend because there's a drone in the sky.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Microsoft just has to shut the game down.
Oh my god!
But I think the way they're going to do it is, like, let's pick a big airport. Let's do like San Francisco Airport to New Jersey. Let's say across one side of the states to the other. So I think what they're going to do is you basically select which airports you want to fly to and from, because they are saying that there are 44,000 airports going to be in the game.
That is insane.
44,000 airports in the game, and what they're going to do is if you pick a flight from those two places, it will like render that and cache everything else. So it's only the game is only rendering what you need, if that makes sense. So I think if you're trying to do like a long haul flight, it's going to actually stream or load it as it goes, and they're basically developing the technology so that in the distance it will load, and it will be a seemingly like open world, but it will kind of be loading in the background, if that makes sense. And that also ties into what they're saying about the they're doing like an offline mode as well. So you can say, you know, if you're about to jump on a plane or a train or whatever it is, you don't have internet, you can then say that you want to fly from A to B, and it will download that, like similar to what like Google Maps does in real life, you know, where you can select like an area, press download, and it will allow you to fly that. I think it's just I kind of see this as a bit of a showcase of, as Taylor said, the capability of new hardware, being the new Xbox, new software and hardware, which is kind of like cloud-esque, Bing Maps and that whole environment. And this is basically saying, hey guys, you may have laughed at Bing in the past, but you know, we're the guys that run Azure, you know.
Yeah. We're the guys who are creating Microsoft Flight Simulator while Google's the guy stealing your health data.
Exactly. I mean, what gets better PR? I think everyone knows.
Yeah, that is true.
I have to say, sorry.
No, go for it. You have to say.
I have to say, I think this kind of technology will probably be used on the future GTAs to make it a super huge open.
Can you imagine?
Oh man,
that would be absolutely. I mean, that would be probably one of the literally the biggest games of all time if they pulled something off similar to this.
But bear in mind, this is only mapping like aerial images.
Oh, of course.
So yeah.
Are these pictures? Are they of the new game, or are these like pictures taken from the old game, the one in the article?
These are the new game.
It's a beautiful looking game. It's like
that picture there isn't the one he's got on now looks absolutely awful. The second picture, the first one looks okay, but look at the second picture. Oh, you mean the desert
one, like the desert looking one?
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
That looks like it's from like a PlayStation 1 game.
I
don't know what the hell you're seeing, Chris, but that does not look like a PlayStation 1
game. Is it the
game.
one that's captioned with Flight Simulator 2020 and its crazy ambition? Is it that one?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a PS1 game, but I mean, I suppose the land is a bit odd. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I will give you that, but I mean, no. Other than that, like, I don't think it looks like a PS1 game at all. I mean, look at the one below that, Chris. That just looks like real.
The other ones look good. I'm just saying that one there, like that just looks crazy crap compared to the other photos.
And that's it. That's a 1-star review.
I wonder if that's from a previous game, you know.
No, I'm kidding.
I think it's just a salt flat. It just looks like one texture kind of thing.
Okay.
But you should be able to see on the screen now like a little slideshow of
Well, trailer.
So beautiful.
And it's good because I did see somewhere on that article that there's not going to be, like, if you have like a lower end PC, this game's not going to, in their words, there's not going to be an expectation of miracles for low end PCs or console hardware. So if they can actually like make a game with all of that and make it sort of runnable, if you will, for low end PCs and consoles, then that is quite the achievement. Like, I think that will be probably one of the most ambitious projects of this gaming decade, if you will.
And I think that'll be more impressive than having a great graphics flight sim, in my opinion.
Oh, completely.
Do you reckon they're going to have in, like the last one, hot air balloons?
Maybe. All I know is this game is going to be a modder's paradise. That's all I'm saying. You mean we can have an open map of the entire world with planes? Okay. What I want to see is an MMO in this bitch. That would be... Oh, man. An MMO of this. Can you imagine that?
Games like that, I mean, there's like more basic versions of games like this that do function like that, and I think that could be interesting. Like MMO, you mean with like a whole sort of like leveling up system?
No, sorry. I don't mean MMO. I mean like just multiplayer, like massively.
Oh yeah. I imagine there'll be multiplayer. Like there was a lot of that in the previous flight sim, wasn't there? It wasn't the best from what I saw, but it worked. Like if they could have something that actually really worked well in this, then yeah, it would be amazing.
I just can't wait to see the news article about it being used in an ISIS training camp.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's.
They'll have to pay about fucking $5,000 on the expansions, so I don't think so.
Tune in to episode 68 when we talk about Flight Simulator 2020 being used in ISIS training camps.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's loads of flight sims already out, like X-Plane and all that stuff, and they're pretty realistic. So if those sort of articles were coming out, they would have been out. That's what I'm saying.
True.
But, yeah, I mean, me personally, this is like shut up and take my money kind of stuff. And they've also said it's not going to be on a subscription model either, which I don't quite understand how.
Well, it's probably because they're gonna put Windows on a subscription model. They were talking about doing that, weren't they?
Yeah, man.
That would suck.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either, but they did talk about it. People would not be happy.
No, people would just find ways around it anyway, so...
Not that we condone the use of any illegal software, but...
Oh, no, of course not, no. But, I mean, I think...
And either if you do condone it, this is not fact-checked, so it's just a story at this point.
Just a theory.
Yeah,
indeed. But yeah, this does look like a really interesting game. I would love to get this, because it does look like it's, taking a huge leap in tech, in terms of the tech that's being used behind it, and it's, definitely, something exciting and new to experience.
Just looking at these pictures here, it's like some of them look a bit kind of photoshopped for the marketing campaigns.
Yeah. Some. Yeah. The one with the city in the background, that looked quite... Yeah. No, third one down.
Yeah, that looks
quite sharp, so I will give you that. But if the game actually looks like that, well done to them. That looks amazing.
I know it's a different league and everything like that, but these sort of like articles about upcoming games and stuff always remind me of when the new GTA came out. At one point, they were like open world. They have a time system. They have casinos here and there, and it was like half of the game that it actually turned out to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder if that's going to have the same symptoms.
True.
Maybe.
Can never be too sure these days with a lot of games.
Yeah, but I suppose they need to generate the hype, big time for this.
True.
Okay, let's move on to the next story, which I don't believe is gaming related. So let's go to here. YouTube is working to bring advertising to edgier content as demonetization woes grow. So good old Susan, the YouTube CEO, has basically come out and said the more edgy stuff, i.e. talking about political topics that might not be favoured by advertisers, as well as high violent adult content such as Rucka Rucka, it mentions... Is it Rucka Rucka or is that the guy that makes those racist ones? I can't remember. Oh, Raka Raka, sorry. The Raka Raka guys, the violence. Yeah, they basically said they want to cater to people that put hard work in their content, like violence and kind of, not fringe, but maybe not, what's the word? Mainstream, kind of marketable. They want to be able to give
children.
Yeah, they want to basically give them a platform. Not platform. They want to be able to give them the means to monetize their stuff and earn money. They're just trying to get the kind of relationships going with these companies. Like,
so
yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks like they're trying to make it so. They use the example of like a movie trailer coming out for like an R18 or an R16 movie to be advertised with content that matches that sort of audience, so it kind of matches up a little bit. I don't know how well that's going to work in practice, but who knows?
I mean, there's... Go on, sorry.
Sorry. It goes back to something we spoke about last week about, it seems as though it links quite closely to this violent content, if you will. As long as it's commercially viable, they'll make use of it. They'll make money from it. As we sort of talked about something on that topic in the last episode, didn't we? But I mean, good. Like, I don't really have much bad to say about this. Like, this is a change for the better, actually, which shows power of the people. People have complained, and they're actually listening. So I can't. Yeah, I've never. Wow. I've not been. I've not.
I don't know if this is because of complaints.
Well,
they just want to make that cash money. That's what they want.
They do want to make the money.
It doesn't have morals or ethics.
No,
it just cares about the commercialization. Previously, they've not been able to commercialize this content because Coca-Cola doesn't want to really be grouped in the same group as the person talking about alt-right material. But they can find people that are okay with that. They're going to advertise it because this is YouTube's whole entire business plan. It's like it's like how when you go to, I know it's a weird example and I'm not sure why I haven't stopped talking, but it's like when you go to like Pornhub and how all the adverts are all like dodgy adverts, because no like normal company would advertise themselves there.
That is true.
And YouTube have the same problems. Some of these channels they have, if they can find the sort of content that advertising there, they will.
Yeah.
I mean, there's adverts past 9 o'clock and through the night. So I mean, on TV. So I mean, there you go.
Yeah,
that's what YouTube just needs to be watershed. Some channels should only be activated after 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock advertising should be a bit riskier.
Can you imagine if they tried to do that though? Like, real talk. If they tried to make it so certain channels couldn't be streamed, if you will, until a certain time.
That's not a bad idea, though. In theory,
there'd be outcry though.
Yeah.
Just imagine you click the channel. It's like, I'm sorry, this channel is now part of the YouTube watershed scheme. Please come back after 9 p.m. local time.
But I go to work at that time.
Like, can you imagine? Like, it'd be taking away freedom, wouldn't it? I mean, sure, a lot of this may be for the money. Of course, it's all for the money, really. But once again, I'm happy that they're making changes, because I was going to say I haven't agreed with all of the changes that YouTube's made. In fact, I've agreed with barely any of them. But this is one that I can agree with, and it's nice to actually see them doing, even if it is for the ultimate purpose of getting money. It's nice to see them doing something that actually does give back to the community they have as well, even if it is for their benefit more than anyone else.
I just think they just don't want to see them jump ship, even though there's no ship to jump to.
No, well, I mean, they can always stop making the videos, can't they?
Yeah. I think it's a pretty decent example to use, Raka Raka, because I'm not sure if you've seen them or not, or heard of them, but basically they make, like, ultra-violent, very well-made and edited videos about any sort of mini-skits, mini-movies kind of thing, and obviously ultra-violence isn't the most marketable thing in the world when you're like ripping people's like spines out their backs and like punching them in the head until it explodes. But that obviously takes a massive amount of effort and skill to ultimately upload it to the website and be told, sorry mate,
we're not going to advertise on that.
Yeah.
I'll Raka Raka the guys who made the there was a long time ago, there was like a real life Far Cry 3, around the time that came out. Was it them that made that, or was that someone else?
It was probably them. I think they're most known for the Ronald McDonald sort of going crazy, killing people.
Oh,
skits.
yeah. No, it wasn't them that made the Far Cry 3 one. I know the video you mean, though.
Yeah.
And the Dragon Ball Z and the Harry Potter, basically like insert popular like series / characters here versus characters / series.
They're basically just like crazy Australians who make ultra violent stuff, but it's not right. It's not violating any terms and conditions. It's just you can't really sell it or put things on top of it, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. But it is nice that they're supposedly trying to do something about it. Only time will tell. But yeah, it's
talk is cheap and all that,
Yeah. So
I wonder if this means they're going to bring Alyx Jones back.
Maybe not.
I have the documents right here, ladies and gentlemen. We've just been demonetized for even mentioning Alyx Jones. You know that.
Yeah, to be fair,
that's true.
We're gonna get cancelled.
They're gonna cancel everything, ladies and gentlemen. They're gonna cancel everything.
Speaking of cancelling everything, that's nothing to do with what I was going to say, but anyway, segues are shit. Let's talk about Tesla's new bulletproof, or maybe not because the window smashed, Cybertruck. Have you guys seen this?
I haven't.
Yes, I have. So this car is extremely ambitious, and I would just the appearance alone would makes me never want to buy one. I'm not going to lie. Like just looking at the video on the article, like, can you imagine being part of that audience? Like, oh yeah, we got a brand new Tesla pickup truck coming out. I can't wait to see it. And then that rolls out on stage. Like, can you imagine the shot?
I think the truck actually looks pretty cool. I do.
Oh mate,
I think it's a cool looking.
It doesn't. It's too pointy.
That's the point, though.
It doesn't look good.
Oh,
those
here we go.
Dreamcast graphics, bro.
Huh?
It is like polygons, isn't it? It's kind
It's like something out of Halo, and like, look, he just broke the window with a metal ball, like bulletproof.
But immediately Elon Musk was just there, like, you're a paedophile. get off my stage.
And it's both windows, not one but two, and this starts at $40,000, right? And it's what? And it can't. This bulletproof truck can't deflect the ball. All right, sick.
Yeah, it's not even a bullet; it's just a metal ball.
And is it electric?
I think it does look pretty cool as well. To be honest, I think it looks like you know that really crappy car on Breaking Bad. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
It looks like something out of a Lego racing game.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, if they made like the roof a little bit more smooth, if you will, I think it would look sick. But it's the roof. The roof is too much. It looks like disproportionate.
Looks like it was made in 1995 for a sci-fi film.
Looks like it was made in scratch by an eighth grader.
It looks like the sort of thing like you'd see like in some sort of like dystopian like future cyberpunk sort of. This is what the police drive.
Really cool.
Yeah, yeah. You can imagine this like Escape from New York sort of thing. This car.
I am curious. Like, I wonder what their stock value went to after the window breaking incident. Like they said, oh yeah, it's bulletproof. I swear. I mean, you got it's like how you remember when iPhone's Face ID failed on stage, like their stock price plummeted. Like, I wonder if it was similar with this. I don't know for sure though. I mean, other than the aesthetic, which isn't the most impressive in my opinion, the actual features of the car are quite good. Like, I like the whole...
There you go. Blade Runner and The Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, there you go. So that's the inspiration.
This is going back to what I've maybe not said on the podcast, but we need more bored billionaires to do crazy shit like this. Like, build random stupid cars and send things to Mars. I think it's pretty cool.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, we do. Why not?
No, Elon Musk is just a weirdo, isn't he? Like, let's get this honest here.
He is. He's a bit strange, but I love Elon Musk. I think he's brilliant. He is a genius.
He's not a genius.
Elon Musk he did go out of his way to call guy who's trying to rescue kids a paedophile. That was bad, but
he just takes advantage of his, his reputation he's built, and he's built this reputation as like some sort of subpar Tony Stark. He goes around like, yo, we're going to go to space. We're going to go to space. Oh, look, electric cars. Oh, I'm sending my little submarine to save children. Oh, you're a paedophile.
No, but
that is basically Elon Musk.
I know that was ballsy. I think, the bit where he called the guy a paedophile and this guy came back with a legal letter, didn't he? I think maybe his ego did get the better of him. But I think we're all guilty of moments like that. Like, I'm not.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Elon Musk has done a lot. Like, I know there's some things that are questionable that he's done, but like this guy is so dedicated to like what he does. Like, he spends virtually every waking minute of his life, or at least he used to spend virtually every waking minute of his life, like dedicated to all of his companies and all of the work that they're doing. And like, yeah, sure, he might be a bit crazy and he has all this money that he can throw around and he does all of these ambitious things, but we can't deny that in all the stuff he's done, he's made a lot of progress as well. Like SpaceX and all of that, like he's done
PayPal too.
Yeah, exactly. He's done an outstanding job all round. And, even with this, like, Adam, you can see it in the article just there in the top right. Elon Musk says Tesla has received 146,000 pre-orders for the Cybertruck.
But that's only the $100 deposit.
So
that's not people putting down 40,000.
Oh, no, obviously not.
Dollars.
But, I mean, so yeah, we will see. But I think Tesla it used to be, I'm not sure if it is anymore, it used to be one of those companies that wasn't actually making profit, was it? It was like the cars were selling, but it wasn't in the positives, and it was being funded by
a pyramid scheme.
It was being funded
by venture capitalists.
No, it was funded by SpaceX as well. And like that, so like Teslas are lovely cars, don't get me wrong, but I mean, keep in mind the company was in the situation where it wasn't actually turning a profit. It wasn't even breaking even. It was just being it was piggybacking off of SpaceX's income. But like, there are plenty of car companies that go bust out there, and some of their cars are like the best in the world. Like, some of them are antiques. And when it got revealed that Tesla was in that spot, a lot of people came out the woodworks and they said, now's the perfect time to buy a Tesla. This might not be available in 5-10 years. But yeah, I think we'll see where this one goes, because if someone doesn't like the aesthetic, they're not gonna like. Oh, no, I mean, if someone likes the aesthetic, they may not like the fact that the windows can be broken with like a light throw.
Yeah, I watched a good video from Marcus Brownlee, or MKBHD, or whatever he goes by now, but he was basically saying that because pickup trucks of that sort of class all look basically identical, and they're all basically mirrored after a specific. I can't remember what it was. It was a Ford something or other, but it's the most sold something in the States.
Ford F-150?
Yeah, that's the one. Did you watch the same video?
No, I just know what one you mean.
Okay. But yeah, they're basically saying, at the moment, they all look the same. And this one wants to come along and be like a disruptor. So people go, that looks stupid, or that looks great. And it basically makes people pay attention. So when you see that driving down the road, you're going to know it's a Tesla, right? I think that's the biggest thing. I don't necessarily want to beat everyone. They just want to say, look, we're totally different. We're doing things our way. And that goes by, like, whenever you see one of those big, what's those family Teslas called? Is it a model? Anyway, the ones with the gull wing doors, the one that are made for like a big family and stuff. When you see one of them going down the street, you know it's a Tesla. You don't know. Whereas if you see a Toyota or a Hyundai, you're going to be like, I can't really recall what that is.
There are a lot of cars. Like, I mean, look at the VW Golf. Like, I mean, there's a lot of cars that look like that.
Yeah, and
you're right.
There's no, I'm trying to get this picture up. Yeah, there's no curves on this car bar the tyres.
No, less curves than a Volvo. It's like...
literally lines.
You are right. It's like... It's with any Tesla. You see it coming down the street, you know it's a Tesla straight away. Like, you can't mistake it, because they have a very unique look, and this is beyond unique. I mean, it looks like one of the cars.
You're in the apocalypse.
No, exactly. It looks like one of the cars I drew when I was like 6 years old. You know, that's what it looks like. It looks like they've created one of them. But I mean, you know,
It just
what?
reminds me of a
Fine.
Halo Warthog, to be honest. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can sort of see where it looks like a pickup truck, though. Like, you know, just the bit just behind just behind at the back, just behind the windows.
Yeah.
But if that little part was taken out, it would be a pickup truck, wouldn't it? It
Oh,
would
you
look
see
just
in
like...
the video, don't you? He gets a little like quad bike on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just refresh this here. Because speaking of the quad bike and stuff, you know where... Let me just zoom back here. For those of you listening, that I'm basically showing a video of the presentation where someone comes out on a quad bike and goes into the back of the unnamed Cybertruck.
Yeah,
ones.
that's where it looks cool. That is gangster. I like that one.
And what they're also saying is, you see where this bit goes up, where the like the panel withdraws into the car.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, in the future, that's going to be it can be an additional extra of having a solar panel on it, so that you can give your car extra miles. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
We're going to need that in England because I'm not sure if you saw the Watchdog, but there's actually an epidemic for electric cars now where a lot of the charging points don't actually work. So there's people in the UK that are you know, a journey that would normally take them 6 hours is taking them 12 hours or more because they have to go out of their way by sometimes more than like 30 miles just to find an actual charge point.
Oh, wow.
So we do like ones. Electric cars are an ambitious market still, and hopefully by the time it hits the stores, we can by the time it hits the UK anyway, we have a little bit more flexibility, if you will. But yeah,
You say we could do with that, but if you look outside your window now, the sky
no
is just
sunlight.
pure cloud.
yeah.
I think, if anything, solar panels are sort of wasted in this country.
Yeah, to be
Yeah,
fair.
I was about to say bit pointless in this country because I don't remember the last
Don't
time I
worry,
saw the
guys.
sun.
That's right, guys. This can be your summer car, yeah.
Yeah. This is when you're summoning it in southern France. You can take the bulletproof pickup truck Tesla.
Yeah, and someone throws a baseball at you, and your fucking car just like flips over. That's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, we.
Oh dear. No, I mean, I suppose it's appropriate if you live in like Arizona, the solar panel. But
You could just
yeah,
tell from the look of this car as well. Like, if this car ever got in a situation like we discussed last week with like the Moore dilemma, it's just killing the most amount of people it can. Like, that's just what the car looks like. Some sort of car supervillain would drive. Like, it's just like, you know, I could kill one person or I could kill 52 people. I'm killing the 52 people. Let's go. It's game time, ladies and gentlemen.
It does look like something an evil mastermind would drive, or like an evil politician. Not gonna lie, but that's just fun and games.
I reckon
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg has got one of these on pre-order for day one.
Oh yeah, mate, he's got like 8 on pre-order, like one for every house that he bought out on his street. Remember?
Yeah.
I love that it always comes back to him.
line them all up on the street.
Good old.
Hey, guys.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Got my new Cybertruck for only
It's my favourite one so far.
$39,900.
On the back, you can smoke some meats and more meats.
Great job, team. Yeah, excellent.
Oh, God.
Solar powers.
You're right there. Oh dear.
Solar panels heats up my smoked meats.
Just to clarify as well, the person who appears in the video with the helmet and sticks the quad bike on the back, Mark Zuckerberg did later call him a paedophile. Just so you know.
Yeah, probably. Oh, that was funny. So yeah, okay. Let's before we close the tab and move on to the next one. Let's go around and give a yes or no whether or not you like this and or the idea of it. So Dalek, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see how much room's on the inside, but yeah, it'd be quite interesting to see this futuristic car in 2020.
Chris?
It is a cool looking car. I do like the look of the car. I don't care what people say. It does just have that sort of cool supervillain look that you don't really get in cars no more. You know, as said, you know, cars just look lame. Like, you know, you got like Pablo Picasso's. They just look crap. You know, they just
Pablo
look.
Picasso.
They just look awful, don't you? You know, you've got smart cars in the world. This is the sort of stuff we need now. We need these cars where, you know, it just looks like a car a villain would drive. You know, I imagine like if you hit someone with this car, like a holographic Elon Musk just like pops out of the front and he's just there laughing. Like, this is just, it's a cool car. I don't care
I
what
can see
anyone else
that.
says. It's a cool car.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cars that all kind of grow on you. Like when you look at it, you go, "Oh, why is it? You know, it looks pretty like massive. All it's no curves on it. It's just straight lines." Then you think, "Yeah, super villain. Okay, I can see why that would be pretty cool."
Yeah.
The problem is, okay, is it looks good when it's on the stage on its own, but when it's next to a Ford Transit and a Pablo Picasso, it's just going to look bloody awful, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
imagine
man.
like seeing this in like a car park and it's just
Okay.
like next to two ordinary cars, and then there's just like, you know, basically
yeah.
it looks like the car of a Despicable Me, you know.
Better yet, imagine it at like a car show or something. Like you got all of these Porsche, you know, you got the Porsche, your Lambos, you got the whole lot. Then you just see that pull up. It's like it wouldn't fit in, but like once again, like Adam said, like you know, it's a Tesla. It's unique.
Yeah,
and
it is. Yeah.
admittedly, since I've been looking at it and talking about it, I won't lie, it's growing on me a little bit. Especially after I saw like the whole back fold down and part of it got fold into the car. Like that's all pretty cool. They've definitely they're trying to recreate the pickup truck essentially, and it's like, I mean, fair play. I won't knock it, and like if I saw one, I'd still look at it and say, wow, look, a Tesla. You know, it's because seeing a Tesla out on the road for me is like quite a surprise, because it's, you don't see them very often, and there's only like 2 or 3 people around this whole area that actually have one, because it's always the same ones I see, you know. But yeah,
I got in an Uber the other day and it was driven by a Tesla. It was a
Lovely.
very pleasant experience. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
What's a Tesla driver doing Uber for?
Because you don't have to pay
bloke
for
just said
petrol.
He just said he does it for fun. You know, it was
Fair.
a bit of fun he did. And it was good. I got him even to drive a bit further. I said, take the long way home. I said, I'm enjoying this so much. Didn't even have to open the door. He just pressed the button when I got there, and like the door opened. And he was like, oh, get in. And I got in. He pressed the button and the door shut. The door actually opens and shuts really fast, I assume, for safety reasons, which does kind of make you look like a bit of a numpty when you're stood there for like 5 seconds as the door slowly opens. You get in, and then the door slowly shuts, and you think to yourself, I don't really mind opening and shutting doors. Like, it's a part of my life I've grown to actually be able to do. And, you know,
A bit unnecessary, would you say?
yeah, it would just save the time if I did it, and I don't mind doing it, you know. But it's a cool feature. It's a cool feature. You obviously got the big screens in the Tesla. But obviously, most modern cars now have a screen inside the car. But like the Tesla one's like massive. It's like the size of like what's it, like the iPod? I was about to say iPad Max. Like it's a bloody big screen inside of it. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was a fun experience.
Yeah, I was in Toronto, or maybe I think it was 2 years ago, and I got an Uber there, and the guy had one of the Teslas, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't have to pay for petrol, so after I've paid off the $80,000, then hey, it's free money." I'm like, "Yeah, but
That's true.
you're glossing over $80,000 pretty quickly then, but you know, it is what it is."
Definitely,
Well-
when I imagine an Uber probably has to like work for like 2 or 3 years to get the 80,000, like not including any other expense.
I just pulled that 80,000 out of where, but I think it's pretty
I think it was
expensive
worth
anyway.
it, yeah.
Anyway,
Don't worry, I can afford to like shell out 80 grand on a car, but like it's fine. It's like I suppose there is a matter of perspective to be taken in there, because
Yeah.
like not everyone could go out and spend 80 grand on a car. Let's be honest. I could barely go out. I couldn't even buy a fucking Hot Wheels car at this point, mate. So like it's definitely depends on what side you're standing on.
At least a Hot Wheels car windows are actually bulletproof.
that's true.
Yeah. To be fair,
They don't smash it all. They might get knocked out, but they'll stay in one piece.
We mentioned Uber drivers and things like that, so we'll move on to the story related to Uber. Uber will start audio recording rides as a safety measure. Drivers and passengers will not be able to access the recordings. currently, they're set to release it in the United States, and they're using this. They're saying that it's because they want to ensure passenger and driver safety. What do you guys think?
Absolutely necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like Uber is. I mean, I know the business itself is licensed, but the drivers are obviously covered to some extent. But pretty much anyone can get into Uber, you know. So I think for safety, yeah, like things have gone wrong in the past. I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure some of us, at least one of us, has had like a creepy cab driver or a creepy Uber driver at some point, and like. You know, in those situations, it's easy to feel uncomfortable. You know, you're in the back of someone's car; they've got free reign of where you go. Ultimately, like, I think having this is a completely necessary.
Do you sit in the
safety
back
measure.
of the car?
No. If the front seat's available, I get in the front. But yeah, in
Most
America,
Americans sit in the back.
yeah, in America, you're meant to get in the back because it's if you get in the front, it's considered rude, isn't it? But
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, I would say so.
If you get in the back, that's like, I don't want to talk to you.
I'm pretty sure in America it's the other way around. I'm pretty sure they don't. A lot of cab drivers don't like it if you get in the front when like the back's available.
Oh well. Okay.
I might have to fact check me on that.
I remember. Here's a fun story for you. It's got nothing to do with the article, but I thought I'd say it anyway. Now we're talking about taxis. A couple of years ago, I went to Turkey, and I went outside the hotel to like the taxi driver sort of spot, and I spoke to one of the taxi drivers. Was like, "Oh, how much for you to take us to the village up the road to obviously buy, you know, some fake gear, you know?" And I said to, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it for you for like."
AdzProductions does
10
not
lira.
endorse copyright material.
The taxi driver was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it for 10 lira." And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, that's fine." And he was like, "Oh, get in." And I remember I like jumped in the seat, and as soon as I sat down, I was like, "Oh my god, what's this in front of me?" And it was the steering wheel. Obviously, I forgot that the cars obviously have the steering wheel on the other side. So I got in, the steering wheel in front of me. The taxi driver was there like laughing, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to drive yourself there as well, are you?" I say it's got nothing to do with the article. I just thought it'd be a funny story to tell.
But yeah, so I think the moral of this story is creepy Uber drivers are now just going to turn the radio on full blast.
That is true. That is a way around it.
Plus, audio recordings can easily be taken out of context as well.
They can, but
because
I
they
think
should also have a camera to do it, you know, on top of recording audio. Because, you know, they could have like, I don't know, like for example, let's just say someone sits in the back and they have like, I don't know, like a knife or a gun or something. And then they could just go like, "Oh, what are you on about? I don't have that. What are you on about?"
Yeah, sure, but I think
just the Uber audio of the taxi driver being like, "Oh my god, is that a gun? What are you on about, man?"
What do you mean? I don't have a gun. What are you talking about, you loser?
Yeah.
No, yeah, but who's actually going to believe that? I mean, I think though, although
yeah, but
I agree,
that's the thing. Like something like that could easily be, you know, like something like that could easily happen.
Dalek, I
just hear like the gun get fired like twice, like bang bang. Oh my god, who's throwing firecrackers?
Look, while I do agree with Dalek's point, I think this whole like recorded audio.
He shot me. I never shot him.
Popped a tire.
Oh man, I think the whole recorded audio gig is meant to be more of a deterrent to people doing things more than anything else. Like, I'm sure it won't stop all instances of shit going down, but like,
you get what
it's meant to. It's, yeah, oh yeah, no, but I think it is meant to be more of a, you know, more of a way of making people shy away from actually doing something shifty. Like, oh shit, there's someone listening to me right now. You know, I need to be like, I can't do what I was planning to do. Things like that. Like, I don't think it would work with cameras though, because there was a streamer who does like Uber on the side, and he streams all of his rides, and like there was a couple of people that got in and they said, "No, I want you to turn the camera off," and he said, "Well, no, it's a stream, I can't." And they said, "All right, then drop me off. I don't want to. I'll get someone else to take me." And like, so that would be a big problem. Like, there would be people that would pretty much stop using these services.
Well, I do think there's a difference there. Like, I wouldn't want to get in an Uber and be like randomly streamed to like Twitch or Mixer.
Oh no, me.
I'd be fine getting in an Uber and just having it being recorded for safety purposes.
I don't know what is that going to achieve though. That's what apart from like you just said, it's like a deterrent. Apart from that,
ultimately, I mean, people, they can still turn around and like shoot you if they want. Right, the camera's not going to stop them, is it? I think if they're planning on killing someone, they're not exactly. They have got their contingency, if you will.
Yeah.
Right, they're not gonna. If something goes wrong, they're gonna have their backup plan. So all they have to do is like cover the camera, pop a cap in you, and then ditch the car. It's not hard.
You see the video release from like a streamer, like I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where like a car pulled up, she got in it, and like she thought it was her Uber.
Oh
But
yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen that. That's creepy as hell.
The bloke thought he was picking up a prostitute.
Oh,
I've seen that,
shit.
Yeah, I remember that. That's an old one. That's from like.
And her face is just like, oh my god. Oh.
Yeah, she just says to him, she's like, "Are you my Uber driver?" And he's just like, "No." She's like, "Please stop the car." It's like, "Stop the car."
I have seen that actually. Wasn't that a streamer that happened to?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I remember that. She got in and then like 100 meters down the road, she was like, "Oh my god, stop!" That was quite scary, actually.
Yeah, because the bloke was there like, "Are you recording this?" And she's like, "No, I'm not recording, and I'm just live streaming it for a friend." And you can see the look in his face, like, my prostitutes don't usually have a camera."
Oh man. But yeah, overall, it's like it's not a bad thing, is it? But
this is ultimately a good
No,
thing.
definitely not. But I guess at the same time, I mean, it can only go so far as to being effective. Because I guess it will work for some situations, but not all of them.
yeah, okay. We'll go to a bit of a heavier one now. Let's just go to this one. A notorious Iranian hacking crew is targeting industrial control systems. So, okay, basically, cyber warfare is real, yo. I mean, just look at that guy's setup. That's what you got to see. Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty beefy.
That guy's playing Microsoft Simulator 2020 before release date for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So, I haven't actually heard much about this, so fill me in, someone.
But I suppose all you really need to know is that there's a hacking group known as APT33.
Right.
God knows what that stands for. Best not to even research that. But they're Iranian-based, and they've basically been hacking in or trying to find vulnerabilities and cause problems with industrial control systems, i.e. water dams, power stations, electrical grids, etc., etc. And I just thought it would be a good idea to maybe talk about where you think the dangers are in the world with cyber warfare and all that crap in terms of everything going over the internet or networked and the dangers that sort of brings with it. I know it's a bit of a transition from talking about Tesla Cybertrucks, but hey, let's give it a go, I guess. But it's just pretty scary stuff. I mean, if you can get people hacking closed systems like power stations and oil refineries, I mean, where does it end?
Yeah.
Indeed, it is a terrifying. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on. I think, did it say somewhere that they were targeting like sort of like water-based sort of control, like
Yeah,
water
so we'll scroll
pump?
down,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is scary. Like, it's, it could end, should things go like in a completely extreme direction, if you will. I mean, it could have resulted in a lot of people getting hurt, or maybe even people dying, depending on how serious it was. Yeah. So it is a scary thing.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I remember watching a video a while back. I think it was with the, if I remember right, I think it was under the F-Secure team.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Mikko Hippa. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen his stuff. Mikko Hipponen, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Sorry if I'm butchering it. And basically, there was a power station in Ukraine, if I remember correctly, that was hacked. And basically, they lost power in the winter. Keep in mind, it's like -10, -20 outside, and people have basically lost power to, kind of heat up their homes and, stuff like that. So it is pretty terrifying that, these systems alone are connected to the internet or connected in some way that someone can access it remotely. Which it shouldn't be at all, given how I guess vital it is, this infrastructure to, let people live their normal day-to-day lives. So I would say, disconnect them entirely from the network and make it so that only that you can only use it in person as opposed to from the other end of the site or over the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to think. Like, I always remember having a conversation with people about there are currently, I believe, people who have like pacemakers and stuff that check them in, and they sync up to their hospital, doctor surgery, or whatever it is to match the rhythm and adjust. Those are done over a network of sorts. People could literally remote kill people.
Yeah,
That's just insane to me. I mean, we put so much reliance on networking and computer systems and stuff to even control like doors opening, to control even like the flow of a liquid, be it gas. No, sorry. Let me rephrase that. A flow of a product or a service, whatever, be it liquid, gas, anything else. And like, do you need that much control given to a certain resource by systems? Are we going too far with systems and putting them in
100%.
danger by convenience type thing? That's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, 100%. There's the Internet of Things is troublesome to me because we've got light bulbs, for example, that you can connect and to the network and modify through smartphones and things like that. That also applies to your heating as well. Your washing machine, your fucking toaster and fridge and all that stuff. That's terrifying to me because it's one thing connecting it to the network and having the convenience to control it. It's another thing to have more things open on your network to exploitation and having more I can't even say it
Vulnerabilities.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading a news article that went about how smart kettles were actually a really bad thing to have because like they're all really easy to hack into because obviously smart kettles aren't made to be secure. So all you need someone to do is make a program that hacks into like all the smart kettles in the UK and say if there was like in the future everyone has a smart kettle, so there's like 20 million smart kettles in the UK.
Boy, all 20 million at once.
Activate them all at once, and you'll just overload the national grid.
That's pretty.
Oh
yeah.
wow! I didn't even think of that.
It would just shut it down.
Wow.
And as I said, like the smart kettles aren't made to be secure because realistically, who's hacking smart kettles? Like, there's no point doing it unless you're a government-sponsored hacker and you're specifically doing it to shut down the national grid. But then you've now got 20 million things connected to the national grid that are all vulnerable, all easy to hack, and all use up a tremendous amount of power when used at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly. There's nothing the national grid would be able to do to, stop this, because the national grid has like extra power they can activate, but they don't have like enough extra power that they could activate at the same time to cover everyone in the country turning on the kettle at the exact same time.
No, because they'll be monitoring like the amount of usage at any one time and going, okay, we anticipate that, like when big sporting events happen, for example, where they know that it's like half time or end of the match, they know there's going to be people going back, like making tea or whatever it is, turning on their microwaves or whatever it is. They know there's going to be spikes around those times, so they kind of give more resource to that. But what you're saying is like the unpredictable switching on of devices all at once. I don't think anyone can protect against that.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, the only way to protect against it is to rather have like actual secure measures added onto the kettles, which would just make kettles too expensive in the first place, or just not to have smart kettles.
I don't see the point at all. Sorry, go on.
Excuse me. Damn. I'm just choking a bit. Do any of you have smart kettles or smart home appliances?
No. I almost bought one of those smart lights, like one of the Wi-Fi ones, but in the end I just got a light bulb that has a little remote that comes with it. So,
I have a smart light. It's connected to my Alexa.
To be fair, I have a Google Assistant. I do have a Google Assistant.
None here.
Google Home, rather.
But funny enough, today actually, they did a like an earthquake alert test on every phone here, and obviously it bypasses any silence, anything you have on your phone and stuff, and plays out like a really loud, obnoxious. You're about to be affected by a natural disaster potentially kind of ringtone, and I just think almost to create panic. You know, people could do something malicious like that, like set off triggers of, you know, warning you're about to have a tsunami. Or there was that thing, where was it, in
Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah, where they had the. I'll let you explain it, Chris, because you probably know a bit more about it.
The guy was meant to press the like a nuclear strike test button, but accidentally pressed the nuclear strike button. So every phone got alerted that there was going to be a nuclear attack.
No, I think it was just a missile, not a nuclear attack.
Oh, that's totally fine then.
No, it was a nuclear attack.
I'm pretty sure it was missiles. I'm pretty sure it was like I know it wasn't so much nuclear, but the missiles that it spoke about were meant to be severe enough to like destroy the majority of the population. So it may as well have been nuclear, whatever the case. And either way, it shit a lot of people up. Obviously, so they all got this text like, "Guess what? You're probably going to die in about an hour." It's like, all right, so.
And even then, those systems in the wrong hands can cause like chaos. You know, if it's not changing, you know, power stations or anything massive like that, at least putting people in a sense of panic. That's almost as bad.
Yeah, and there was a case quite some years ago. It almost started World War III because someone pressed the wrong button, and so you know one person got the alert that some nukes or whatever were meant to be launched, and then someone else got the message that you know such and such was happening, and then it almost caused a third world war. But luckily, the guy who made the mistake was like, "Oh no, that's a complete mistake. Like, don't kill us." You know, it was so in the wrong hands. It is dangerous, but that's, in my opinion, it's human error in a lot of cases. Like I think human error is, at the moment anyway, a lot more dangerous with systems like that. If you start bringing in the idea of people hacking into them and so on, yeah, even more so. But like even without hacking, there's still the chance that someone's just gonna make the mistake and not even realize.
Yeah, I just think of like if people hack in, there's basically see this picture here on the screen. It's almost like the hacker sitting at that seat, looking at all of that control system, being able to do what they want. I think that comes with that danger comes with having like a non-closed system, like something that has to reach out to the internet. Because even if you connect to like the most secure server, let's say over encrypted traffic, whatever it is, you're still making a connection over the internet. That means it's not fundamentally secure by nature. It's kind of yes, it's secure by protocol, sure, but the very fact you have a network connection to it means it's not. So
anything that's connected to the internet at some point has a vulnerability.
Exactly, be it human or not, it just gives people access to you know. Whereas if you had like a piece of machinery that's totally offline in a totally concealed place, you literally have to be there with like an SD card with some malicious stuff on it.
It's like when the Iranians and the US hacked the Iranian nuclear program. The way they did it, because it's all obviously encrypted, there was no realistic way to hack it via the internet. But the way they gained access was that a Mossad agent just dropped a USB stick that allowed the US government to gain access through the internet. They just dropped the USB stick in the car park. Iranian person working at one of the nuclear plants picked it up, went inside, stuck it into a computer to check what was on the USB stick, and that's how the US destroyed like 5 years of Iranian nuclear program progress.
Oh, wow, didn't know that.
That's what happens when you connect something to the internet.
Yeah, that's it. The Stuxnet one. Yeah.
You just gain yourself. It makes it vulnerable, and usually it's going to be through human error, but there's going to be an error somewhere, because when you have an organisation with 30,000, 40,000 people involved in it, it doesn't matter what sort of training you do. One of them people is going to be laxed on training, and there's going to be a way to get in.
That's true. And the fact that... Go on, sorry.
there's just a reason why data leaks happen, even though, you know, most stuff nowadays is encrypted properly, and encryption mathematically is basically impossible to get through. But we still get leaks because people just don't do the, you know, proper safety like protocols. So there's always a way to get in.
True. I was going to say, I'm surprised that their systems even, you know, allowed USBs, given that, you know, there's safety measures in place to stop USBs from being accessed. Just had a realization there, but yeah, it's. I think, you know, as you said, a lot of it is really down to human error. You know, whether, I mean, you can do all the training, but, you know, there could be just that one occasion where, you know, you have, I don't know, maybe not enough sleep, or maybe you're going through some, you know, difficult events in life, or, you know, maybe you're just feeling relaxed that day, or you just, you know, you're feeling good, or, you know, you're in a certain state of mind that kind of allows you to make that error, as it were.
It's not just that you do the same thing every day, don't you? And like, you know, if you've been working there for 19 years, and during them 19 years there's never actually been a problem, then you get a bit lax, don't you? You don't follow the protocol 100% because you think to yourself, oh, that part of the protocol's silly. You know, that's never going to happen. We've never had it happen all the time I've worked.
Yeah.
So I won't bother doing that. And that's how people get into these systems.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they just exploit what is naturally just human laziness.
True, very true. Yeah,
and yeah, the humans are definitely the weakest component of like every system of security. Like,
I agree. Yeah.
No, it's not a case of it's not a case of agreeing. It's the truth, right? It's like when you've got somebody that's every day they do things slightly differently. Their behaviours change depending on a variety of different factors. Like you just said, people could come into work hungover, right? Not be at 100%. They could be there's something on their mind, overtired, whatever it is, and they just, as you said, go back to, oh well, never happened before. What's on this USB stick? And then bang. It's just, I think people underestimate, and to be honest, quite rightly, people underestimate the importance of things like that. Because if you dropped like 10 USB sticks in the centre of town, what's the chances that at least half of those are going to be plugged in and had a look what's on it? I guarantee.
Yeah, exactly.
At least half would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least half for sure. Okay. Speaking of USBs, obviously, I'm gonna say that even though it's got nothing to do with the segue. Speaking of cloud platforms, I guess, and security and things like that.
You're getting better on the segues, man.
I'm not. I'm getting worse, I feel like. But
You're getting really good.
Sometimes I have like good ones, and then the rest of them is just nah. How else do I say? I think the conversation is leaning a bit towards moving on. What do you reckon? I'd rather do.
You're boring me. Let's change.
Next.
Dismissed.
I reckon we should have some sort of button, like when you press it, Mark Zuckerberg's laugh happens, and then that's the cue for everyone to like wind down.
You need to change make a program where there's like a wheel and it just spins, and whatever it lands on, that's our subject.
Oh wow, okay.
That's not bad, to be fair.
Not a bad idea. I'll write that down. Moving on to this subject, which is Microsoft restores services after it experienced a large global outage across numerous platforms. The reason I choose to add this in is because this affected me and the company I work for. I'm not sure if any of you had this problem or seen the problem. Anyone?
No, not me.
I wasn't aware, to be honest, but you know, it wouldn't surprise me if what's the word I'm looking for? If, you know, businesses were affected using like Office 365 or
they were. Yep.
I don't even imagine.
Yeah, so basically, if you lived in or worked in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, or the west coast of the US.
Oh, the third world.
The third world.
We've heard of this place.
Office 365 just stopped working for 3 hours.
Oh,
That's Excel online, Word online, all of those, your OneDrives, your SharePoints, everything. Your emails online and things. It caused absolute pandemonium. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because it just goes to show, because I remember when the Amazon outage happened. I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but basically the Amazon one was slightly larger in the fact that the entire platform went down, and basically meant anyone who had, smart gates that they opened when they arrived home, front doors that, had Internet of Things devices attached, all just suddenly stopped working. And I just think this shows that there's a massive reliance on a technology that's maybe not ready, or maybe in its infancy, and shouldn't be trusted as a be-all and end-all solution. What do you reckon?
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. I think
one thing just one really quick point. I mean, even from like a different point of view, like sure that there's like outages that we have, but in the future, scientists have discussed the possibility of more solar flares, for example. And when that happens, obviously all of this, we could lose it for a lot longer. And I think last week we did touch on the fact that we are very reliant on software and technology now, that maybe even too much so. And yeah, I think, because, like when your internet goes down in your house, I don't know about any of you, but I stress out. Like, my internet's down, it won't come back on, like, even after I restart the router. I freak out, and it's like, holy shit, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? And it's like, we are incredibly reliant on it. And this is another one of those examples. Like, was your company sort of like put at a standstill then?
No, but it was. I suppose the one positive is you can basically say to the customer, "Yeah, it's Microsoft. They're down," and they go, "Oh yeah, Microsoft are always down." It's you have a blame element. Like we had people calling up saying, "What's happening with my X, Y, and Z?" And we're literally like, "We're up, but they're not." So that's
get fucked, mate. It's fucking Microsoft you need to be calling, yeah?
Pretty much. I mean, for lack of better words, that's pretty much what you're going to do.
I mean, to be fair, that's a big part of, like, software development, though, I'm afraid. Like, when things go wrong, it's a lot about passing blame. Like, people are going to pass blame. And even though in this case it is Microsoft's fault, like, I think in cases like this, even if there was anything you can do, I think, like, I know I did in my job. Like, if there's something that was going wrong, I'm not going to like sit on the phone fucking around with it for 45 minutes trying to get it to work. I'm going to say, no, sorry, the system's down, so you have to try again later, mate. Sorry. It's what can you do exactly?
You can't
this
is why backups need to be put in place.
But even that, like, you sell a product that's internet based and then it just goes down randomly. I mean, it's very quick for people to lose trust. I do think, like, in the next, I'm going to make a call here, like 10 years, let's say. At the moment, it's like, oh, you should move to cloud. Cloud is the way forward. Online this, online that. I guarantee you will see a point where it's like, bring servers back to on-premises where they belong, keep it in the country, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, not trusting the cloud. I think we'll see a resurgence of that, of like people going, you never have outages, you control uptime and da-da-da, whereas clearly we've seen these companies obviously can handle massive amounts of people relying on them, but when shit hits the fan,
everyone suffers.
It sprays everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, there are arguments for that, aren't there? There are arguments already where people have said, look, the only way I'd ever have a server is I'd have it locked in a room, and the only way, if you want to break into that server, the only way you're going to do it is if you knock down the wall to this room and get in there. Like some people prefer that as it is. So yeah. I think if all these cloud services do have, I wouldn't say consistent, but if they have issues that are like often enough, like even a couple of times a year for a company, that can be a big deal, Like, they turn around and say, oh, for Christ's sake, not this shit again. And in the end, eventually someone's going to say, you know what, let's be done with it, and we're going to go back to what we were doing before, because I've had enough. I've had enough of, sitting on the phone to some technician for hours trying to figure out what's going on. Let's just go back to the way we know works. And, yeah, you're right. I think that will happen more as time goes on.
Yeah, because, don't get me wrong, products and services, they go down sometimes, right? That's just the nature of the beast. In any company, anything here or there, it goes down. Your biggest companies and websites in the world, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, they go down from time to time. But we've seen this a fair few times with products like Amazon and Office 365, where they are like productivity hubs. This isn't posting a filter of your auntie's birthday. This is like legal documents, medical records, all that sort of thing that Microsoft have made you buy licenses for and pay monthly subscriptions to use, and always backed up this and that. They don't say that at any one point it could randomly go down. You would think there'd be some sort of safeguard. To have multiple countries go down at once, that sounds like it's a bit of a cluster F, if you ask me, because you could almost see if it went down in a specific region because of certain servers, that's one thing, but multiple countries, Jesus.
I think it really does boil down to, A, depending too much on the cloud / internet, B, no backup in place. So, I'm guessing with this issue it's probably like, oh, hey, you haven't activated Office because we can't see the servers and all that stuff, or, you can't access your files on the cloud, or you can't even work because all of it's 100% cloud-based, because every system and business is different. There has to be backups in place, and there seems to be a lack of that, I would say, in terms of, or at the very least, workarounds in terms of those types of situations, and there isn't any. And the same goes exactly the same for the entirety of the internet. What if one day, and I hope it doesn't come true, but what if one day somehow the internet just, maybe there's like some sort of huge virus that like wipes it out and everything is just completely, screwed. Basically, the internet itself essentially no longer exists due to X, Y, Z. What then?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be chaos because there are so many systems and so many machines and so many like everyday functions, if you will, that rely on having access to such a service. So I think it would be complete chaos if something like that was to ever happen. Like we would see, we would go back to the dark ages for a little while, I reckon, until we could get it sorted out, because it wouldn't just be, obviously, it wouldn't just be servers and computers that were made redundant. Like it would be so many different processes which are used in so many different things. Yep.
So, I mean, jobs, literally anything you can think of, it will be affected, from like, GPSs to boats being driven, and, airplanes to, services that solely work online, e.g., Netflix, Amazon, getting updates for your phone, or, being able to just literally anything you can think of, quite literally, even going into probably like a restaurant to get food.
Oh yeah, well the card systems all connect to the internet, don't they? It's all done over the internet.
Sorry, our payment systems are down at the moment. Can you pay in cash? I mean, I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, exactly. So quite literally every thing that you can think of will be affected. And again, I hope that one day that's not the case, but it's still a to a degree a possibility. And should something terrible happen, someone
I don't even think it's to a degree. I think it's definitely a risk.
So, I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for many other things, like electricity, for example. Life itself quite literally depends on that. I guess the list goes on for many other things too. But I do think, especially with things like this, stories like this, we should definitely have the capacity to have workarounds and, backup systems in place, or some form of alternate things to go around it. That's what I've got to say on it.
Speaking of things to go around it, hyper-realistic masks can fool us just like in Mission Impossible.
That mask does look hyper-realistic.
Christ, that's terrifying.
I'd certainly be fooled by that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's-
I've got to give it to him. It does. I'm sure once it's on your face, it looks a little bit better than that. But
Do we have someone wearing the mask? Is there an image of that? No. Okay.
no.
Research. So basically, it looks like researchers at the University of York in the UK and Kyoto University in Japan have basically discovered that hyper-realistic silicone masks made to mimic everything from freckles to wrinkles can trick us into thinking they're real people. That is, but as you said, when it's on someone's head and neck and shoulders, maybe it looks real. But at the moment, that looks some sort of Gary's mod skin or some sort.
it does to be fair. Yeah. I mean, I suppose an important thing to keep in mind is even if it doesn't look 100% realistic, like in the street, if you see someone wearing one and you wouldn't know otherwise, you're not going to walk up to them and say, "Hey, mate, are you wearing a mask?" And it's like,
Yeah,
you can imagine
especially in this day and age, it's like I'm offended,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you trying to say, mate? It's like, well, nothing. Your face looks a bit fucking rubbery. Like you can't really address it, can you?
Have you had a heavy night or something? I mean, geez, your eyes are like black by the look of it.
I just like the picture because you even got the bloke holding it. He's sort of got his head turned like, really? Is this what we're calling hyper-realistic?
He's just got that look of disappointment. He's like, oh, okay. Working on this, I guess.
4 years of research and we've made this. Oh, God.
I'm the one who's got to stick this on and go home to my wife.
Man.
God.
I like how they've sort of gone though, of like, what should we make with the hyper-realistic mask? Oh, let's make traditional British yob #1.
Yeah, I know. And look how disproportionate the head is as well. It's like almost blocky. It looks like.
I think that's probably because he's got his hand. I imagine if he sticks down his head, because that looks like someone who's got his hand out, sort of to keep it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got his hand up there to keep it in place. You can see where his fingers are in like the top of the skull. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like a fucking dodgy Jason Statham. That's the only problem.
It does actually. That's what it looks like. It looks like discount Jason Statham.
Are you body shaming him?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you reckon this is what it's for, basically? Because we know that Jason Statham isn't going to live forever. And this is so he can keep having the 5 crappy Jason Statham films a year. Is by having a Jason Statham mask built.
Don't hate on Jason Statham.
And on that note, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see this. Google employees at protest. They want us afraid. They want us silent. Workers at the search giant hold a rally to support 2 activist workers placed on leave. Anyone? I think Dalek, you added this story in here. Do you want to just give us a brief summary?
Yeah. So basically, because of 3 events that have kind of happened within the Google sphere, if you will. Basically, lots of employees have gone out protesting. I think one of them was basically to do with like sexual harassment claims with like management or something like that, or something along the lines of that. And the other 2 was people being suspended for basically, I think, voicing some concerns, I think, and then they basically got put on leave.
Jesus.
So they were silenced.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I think in general that the back room of Google is a little bit of a
Anomaly.
place with lots of tension, is what I mean, because there's all these like scandals and controversies that Google's involved in, and they keep getting like their memos leaked of the meetings they have to try and counter it, and it just seems like they don't really know how to handle the mess that they seemingly have caused. These are, as you said, sexual assault allegations, as well as like certain things in relation to China, which we're not going to press in this because that's just an area I don't even want to go. As well as certain types of like contracts with the Pentagon that might not be ethical and things. And I think the protesters are getting more and more sort of anti-Google, and they're like, okay, we don't want people protesting, but we want to be including everyone and everything, so they're trying to find a middle ground, it seems like.
This is just Google's slow turn to being an evil corporation, isn't it?
I think they've always been up there as
all
a fairly
good and
evil one.
noble, and now this is just like the slow. This is like the middle part of like a villain origin story.
Yes.
Give it a couple of years time, and it'll just be no protest at Google because they'll have like machine guns on the top of the buildings with like facial recognition, and it would just be like, we're Google. You can hate us, we don't care.
I hope not, because that is very sci-fi and dystopian. But like, I don't know about either of you, Adam, Dalek, but like what Chris just said, although it sounds very fictional, at the same time, like, if it happened, I'm at the stage where I wouldn't really be surprised.
Same.
Like, I hope it wouldn't, and I'd like to believe that it wouldn't, but if it did happen, I would not be like completely shocked. I'd be like, well, you know, bound to happen eventually.
Same old Google.
Well, because they're
Classic
pretty much
Google,
too big to
lads.
fail at this point. Like, you know, they keep getting in trouble with the EU, and the EU's like, here's a fine, and Google's like, yeah, we're going to pay the fine. We're not going to fix what we're getting fined about, but we're paying the fine. You know, you're not going to tell us how we store our data. We're just going to do it how we do it. We're Google.
It's like these millionaires that like don't bother parking correctly because they can afford to spend money on the fines for parking on the double yellows. It's like cheaper for them to do that. So
Google don't care. What are you going to do? They're like, you know, what are you going to do? Ban Google in the EU? It's like, you're just going to ban like the fourth biggest company in the world? It's like, yeah, go on then.
But don't worry, they're allowing people to monetize violent YouTube videos, so everything's okay. And we like Google again, right?
No. Well, I mean, I suppose it is a good way of. It's a good point. Like, you know, one bit of good news is countering the bad in some ways, because once again, like the stuff that's this isn't stuff that I've heard about. Like, this hasn't been front page news for me. No, I haven't had this suggested to me or anything. And believe it or not, I use Google, so there you go. Yeah, Google's not being suggested in any of these articles, but
Of course not.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I think it just goes to show that you've got a serious problem when 20,000 people walk out of the office.
Yeah.
Is that how many walked out? 20,000?
Yeah, I think it was 20,000 if I remember right.
Let's just scroll down here. Yeah, last November, 20,000 employees walked out of the company's offices around the world in response to Google's handling of sexual harassment claims against key executives.
Oh dear.
6 months later, employees held a sit-in protest to what they said was a culture of retaliation at Google. Jeez, they're in some trouble here.
They are. That's some
20,000.
Damn.
Imagine that.
Well, I mean, what would the company be without their employees?
Well, nothing. I mean, they've got AI anyway, right? So, I mean, they can just leave AI to sort everything out.
Yeah, but AI can't do it all. Like, when the
No,
AI
of course
goes, they
not.
still need people. Like, I mean, AI is... In this scenario, there's obviously going to be a lot of jobs that the AI can do, but there are also going to be jobs that need, like, the human touch, you know? So, and at the end of the day, like, this entire company and everything they do would not be able to stand on its own 2 feet with AI. So, like, they need to sort their shit out.
I was being a little bit sarcastic there.
Yeah, fair. Well, your voice is sarcastic on the best of days, so. I'm kidding.
But, I mean, both serious and sarcastic at the same time. But yeah, of course, yeah. But I think, I think it is a big issue when you've got 20,000 people walking out. You know, that's a lot of people.
It does make you wonder what they're going to do to sort of recover from this. Because if it was like a sexual harassment claim that they sort of silenced, that is like basically the one way to get yourself nuked in today's political climate. Like,
yeah, but they'll probably see this as an opportunity to do some good. They'll probably donate like millions to charities of certain descriptions and things like that, just to try and get we really care, trust me, back on side. And they'll use this as like a springboard, is what I'm guessing, like they normally do.
I can see that.
But Yeah, we silenced everything, and we give we do all this controversial stuff, but we also give money to animal shelters, so we can't be that bad, right?
Oh, we're bringing those ads back for you guys now. See,
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
great
We're,
people.
we're the good guys, I promise.
We're-
Yeah.
What you on about stealing
I
your
don't- I
data
don't-
and
Don't worry about all the sexual harassment claims. Like, that's all water under the bridge, right?
Yeah, just ask my mate Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, you know, he gives us loads of advice. No, I'm not going to bring it back to him again. But no, we all then still use Google every day and Androids and this and that and Gmails and stuff. So this isn't going to affect end users, but it's pretty telling of the environment within the Google offices at least. So they're obviously aware of having to tread lightly nowadays to not burn themselves, I guess.
Mm.
indeed.
Okay.
But I don't really care about public opinion, though, because everyone's going to use Google because it's the only real good search engine.
That's not necessarily true. There is actually something on our in our topics about that, which we might get to at some point. But I don't know. We'll see.
I think we'll leave that one for a week or so's time, just because of the time.
Yeah, I was about to say it's getting getting on, isn't it?
Speaking of, no, I'm not going to segue because I don't have one. Last story then. Let's wind this down with Steam now lets you invite iOS and Android devices to join PC multiplayer games remotely. Valve's at it again. A beta of Steam Remote Play Together was announced last month, which allows you to play local multiplayer games over the internet with your friends across Windows, Linux, and Mac OS computers. Wow. Didn't see that coming.
Wrong. Sounds cool, but like as someone, I played a lot of Dota recently, for example, and the amount of people I meet with internet that can, you know, at the very most, perhaps load a very basic HTML page, let alone play an online game. I don't know if I'd want to incorporate mobile users into that, to be completely honest. It's like, sure, it sounds like a very good idea for some games, but at the same time, it kind of sounds like unreliable to some extent as well.
Is this like primarily aimed at the Chinese market? Because China as a whole has a large amount of their gaming done on their mobile devices.
Really?
So, yeah, I think like 95% of Chinese people play games on their mobiles.
That's why PUBG's on mobile.
And it's also why they made the Diablo mobile game was for China.
Oh, okay.
Like the majority of Chinese gaming is mobile based.
That really shocks me, actually.
So I wonder if this is made purely for the Chinese market.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, fair point. I'm just reading here.
Potentially. I would say it's, probably Valve's way of trying to incorporate as many platforms as possible to their, to their service, because Valve has always tried making, I guess, their games as well as, just, I guess, gaming in general as accessible as possible. You've got the Steam Link where you can basically stream your content through like another system or through through your TV, for example, and you can use the controller as well as So in essence, you're basically kind of using a remote console to a degree. So there's that.
Yeah. And it looks like it says there only the host needs to actually own the game, and then have it installed for everyone else to play it. That's pretty cool. It just reminds me of when you used to be able to do that on like the Nintendo DS with like Mario Kart and stuff. You could invite other people to play even if they didn't have it. Just as
you can do it on the PlayStation.
Oh, can you? All right, cool. Does it work well or?
No, not particularly.
Why is that? Is it like laggy and stuff or?
Yeah, it's the remote play thing as well. So it streams over the internet. So both you have to have quite a good internet connection for it to work.
Yeah, I suppose it makes a good point. I think we touched on it. We might have touched on this before, but there's a difference between playing a first-person shooter that requires like reactions and minimal input lag compared to playing like a role-playing game where it's not so much reliant on, oh, you have to have the quick, response times of the mouse and stuff in order for it to work properly. So I wonder how they're probably going to find more preference to that kind of non-fast-paced reactionary games than they are like. Am I explaining that very well? Probably not. But what I mean is,
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, basically it's going to depend on the type of game as to whether or not this works. And if it's like you're trying to shoot somebody or whatever it is quickly, accurately, always on time, then naturally the lag is going to get the better of you, I think, with this sort of system.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's probably going to be based on kind of simpler games like 2D and 2.5D. Cuphead is mentioned there. And I do remember seeing the trailer for this, for the playing remotely announcement side of things, but not so much this story. But I think it's mainly just going to be kind of party games, so fairly simple games for the most part.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like you can get those quiz games where it like comes on the screen and everyone votes and and you can just like, share the game with people. Because you're kind of going to play it with other people anyway, so you might as well, rather than here's another copy of the game. I see.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of also bringing back couch, gaming as well. Obviously, this is being done remotely, as it were, but I still think it's trying to kind of bring back that spirit of couch, gaming back in the early / mid 2000s and of course the 90s as well. So I think it's a nice touch.
Yeah, I suppose it's not something I'll like immediately go out and try, but I suppose if the right use case came along where you're like, oh, you guys don't have the game, okay, sweet, click, play it together, that will kind of be pretty nice just to seamlessly work. Depends how clunky and how much setup is needed, but I suppose time will tell with that one as well.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like if you look back to the VR, like right now, a lot of these wireless VR headsets are all being done over mobile. So I think, considering it's sort of developing in that way, like the market in that market in general, sorry. I mean, I think some of those advances are transferable to other areas. So, although I'm a little bit reluctant with it now, like I don't deny that in the future it could be quite, it could be quite good. It could be quite a positive, but it's just a case of whether or not they can get it right. Because most people who are like serious about their games aren't going to put up with like a whole second of input delay or whatever.
That's right.
True
that.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's naturally come to the end of the conversation for that, which brings us to the end of the second episode of Caught in the Web. If you got this far, then you deserve a medal. No, but in all seriousness, thanks for listening if you have. Thanks again for Dalek and Taylor and Chris for joining. It's been good to talk to you guys again about this week and a bit's tech, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening and thanks for talking. I'll see you guys very soon.
Thank you.
See ya.
Peace.